Welcome to This Explainer. I want you to picture someone for a second. Think of that highly capable, hyper-vigilant adults in your life. You know the one, right? Or hey, maybe you're actually looking in the mirror right now. I'm talking about the person who anticipates literally every single problem before it happens. The one who manages the entire room's mood. The one who just seems to hold the whole world together. But underneath it all, they are deeply, constantly, and just fundamentally exhausted. I mean, from the outside, it absolutely looks like they have everything under control, but their internal reality is completely, totally draining. So why do we hold on so tightly? Usually we just brush this kind of behavior off, don't we? We call it being a quote-unquote type A personality, or maybe just being a bit of a perfectionist. We treat it like it's just this quirky little trait you were born with. But what if it's not a personality trait at all? What if we challenge that assumption right here, right now, and look at what is actually sitting beneath the surface of that desperate need to manage everything? Here is our roadmap for today. First, the illusion of control. 2, the root, abandonment fears. 3, outward control. 4, inward control. 5, the hidden cost. And finally, number 6, rewriting the algorithm. Let's dive in. Okay, Section 1, the illusion of control. More than just a personality trait. Here is exactly how we need to frame these behaviors. That visible problem, that intense overfunctioning and micromanaging we just talked about, is actually a highly sophisticated defense system. It's really not a sign of success. Control is actually an outdated survival strategy. Think of it like an internal guardian. It's a piece of software that got installed way early on in your life to protect you against the profound terror of rejection and abandonment. It's just this defense mechanism running quietly in the background of your adult life, completely undetected. Which brings us to Section 2, the root, abandonment fears. Let's look at this invisible algorithm. Clinical research actually calls this the impossible oscillation, and honestly, it is a tragic dilemma. On one hand, the vulnerable part of you desperately seeks love and connection, but that internal guardian we just talked about, well, it perceives real intimacy and vulnerability as a literal life-threatening danger. Because think about it, if you truly connect with someone, you can be rejected by them. So your nervous system is just constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop, and your body frantically attempts to prevent someone from walking away by either attacking the connection, managing it to death, or retreating entirely. Now for Section 3, outward control, managing everything and essentially making yourself indispensable. If you identify with outward control, oh man, these behaviors are going to sound incredibly familiar. We're talking about anticipating every possible problem before it even happens, micromanaging the moods of your partner or maybe your coworkers, finding yourself literally apologizing for the weather. You know that feeling of constantly reading the room before you've even fully stepped into it? It's this compulsive over-responsibility. You just find yourself completely unable to separate your own internal peace from someone else's mood. If someone else is upset, your body just immediately goes into overdrive trying to fix it. So the really crucial point here is this primitive logic running in the background. It's this thought. If I control everything and fix everything, you can't leave me. You make yourself so incredibly indispensable, so useful, and just so flawlessly in charge of all the chaos that abandonment becomes logistically impossible for the other person. In this way, your control is acting as a literal physical shield against isolation. And as you can see, there is a super clear contrast between two completely distinct presentations of control. On one side, you have that outward control we just talked about, managing the room, carrying everyone's anxiety, doing all the overfunctioning. But right on the other side of that exact same coin, driven by the exact same fear of abandonment, is inward control. Let's move to Section 4, inward control, erasing yourself and the creation of the false self. This is where control suddenly turns inward. Instead of managing the environment around you, you erase yourself. These behaviors look a lot like shape-shifting to fit whatever expectations are placed on you. It's chronic people-pleasing. It's swallowing your own needs, constantly shrinking, just disappearing into the background and muting your own voice. Really, it is the meticulous construction of a false self, where you're trading your true authenticity for acceptance. You become whatever somebody else needs you to be, just to avoid being rejected. And the genuinely tragic underlying belief here is this: if I make myself small enough, maybe they won't leave. The idea is that taking up absolutely no space, having zero needs, and demanding absolutely nothing feels like a foolproof guarantee against abandonment. Basically, it's a desperate attempt to control the relationship by becoming totally invisible inside of it. Section 5. The hidden cost, isolation, and honestly, the tragic irony of it all.
So I really want you to ask yourself, what is your body trying to protect right now? Just take a second and think about your current stress, or maybe that recurring argument you just keep having. That hypervigilance you carry around, it literally never switches off. You end up living with this constant background sense that something is terribly wrong, experiencing this chronic guilt that is totally unmoored from any actual bad behavior on your part. It is just a constant, exhausting state of alert.
Which brings us to the ultimate tragic irony of this entire system. That guardian inside of you is basically saying, to keep you safe from the world, I must keep you isolated from the world. Because the very control that was meant to secure connection, whether that's by managing people outward or erasing yourself inward, actually prevents any genuine intimacy. You can't be truly loved if you are hiding behind a false self, or if you're managing your partner like they're a work project. This whole strategy creates the exact isolation you were terrified of in the first place. All right, section 6. Let's talk about rewriting the algorithm and breaking the loop. First off, I really want to reassure you here. These behaviors are not character flaws. They aren't. Your brain did a brilliant job keeping you safe in the past. But, as we said, it's outdated software now. And the good news is, clinical practice provides a really clear, actionable 3-part framework for stepping out of this loop and short-circuiting that old survival algorithm. It simply comes down to noticing, recognizing, and rehearsing. So step 1 is noticing. You have to start using your body as an early warning system. In the clinical world, this is called interoceptive awareness. See, before your brain even registers that you feel threatened, your body already knows. You need to start noticing those physical signs that your controlling defense mechanism is kicking in. Maybe it's tension in your jaw, or a sudden flash of heat in your chest, or you realize your posture has completely collapsed into a shrink. Then, step 2 is recognizing the pattern. Once you feel that physical cue, you have to acknowledge the fear. You can literally just whisper to yourself, the pattern is about to run. There is incredible power in just naming the fear out loud, almost like a secret. Just recognizing that, hey, you are simply feeling afraid of rejection right now, and that is exactly why you suddenly want to take over the room or completely shrink away into the corner. And step 3 is to rehearse the alternative. So if your shadow pattern is inward control and appeasing people, practice setting a boundary. If your pattern is outward control and dominating the environment, well, practice slowing down and actually letting someone else experience their own feelings without you jumping in to fix them. And if your pattern is to just go silent and disappear, practice using just one single sentence of honest voice. Assert one personal need. The goal we are aiming for is perfectly captured in this single phrase. I can stay here without leaving myself. Finding this grounded middle position is the ultimate goal. It shows that true connection doesn't require you to hyper-manage the entire room, and it definitely doesn't require you to erase your own identity. You can just be present. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. If you no longer had to control every single outcome to prove your worth, who would you be? Really imagine a life where the fear of rejection is no longer running the show in the background. What kind of space would that open up for you? Take that question with you today. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.